How did ancient civilizations build structures we still can't replicate today? No machines, no modern tools. So who or what helped them? For centuries, we've been told a simple story about our past, that ancient people were primitive, that they slowly, painfully figured things out, that everything we see today is the result of a steady climb from ignorance to innovation. But what if that story is incomplete? What if something doesn't quite fit? Across the world, scattered through deserts, jungles, mountains, and forgotten landscapes, there are structures that seem to defy everything we think we know. Massive stones cut with impossible precision, walls built so perfectly that not even a blade can slide between them. Entire cities aligned with the stars, with a level of accuracy that modern engineers still struggle to explain. And the deeper researchers look, the more uncomfortable the questions become. Because this isn't just about old buildings, it's about knowledge that shouldn't have existed. Take a moment and imagine this. You're standing in front of a structure built thousands of years ago. No cranes, no steel tools, no computers, and yet every stone is shaped with a level of perfection that feels almost modern, almost mechanical. But it's not. There are no tool marks that match what should have been used. No clear records explaining how it was done, just the result, standing there, silent, massive, and impossible to ignore. And this is where things don't add up, because if ancient civilizations truly lacked the technology we believe they did, then how were these structures even possible? Some historians suggest it was simply time, manpower, and ingenuity, that with enough workers and enough years, almost anything can be built. But others aren't so sure. Because in many of these sites, the precision isn't just impressive, it's exact. Angles that align with astronomical events, stones that weigh hundreds of tons transported across impossible distances, surfaces that appear almost polished without any known tools capable of achieving that finish. And this is what makes researchers uncomfortable. Because if this level of engineering existed thousands of years ago, then something is missing from our understanding of history. Some believe these structures are evidence of lost technologies, methods and knowledge that somehow disappeared over time. Others suggest something even more controversial, that ancient civilizations may have had access to advanced techniques or influences that we have yet to fully understand. And if that's true, then history isn't just incomplete, it's been misunderstood, or worse, simplified. But here's where it gets even stranger. These structures aren't isolated. They appear across different continents, built by different cultures, separated by oceans and time. And yet they share something eerily similar: precision, scale, and a kind of silent intelligence behind their design, as if the same idea or the same knowledge was being used again and again. But how? How could civilizations with no known contact create structures that follow the same mysterious patterns? And why do so many of these places seem to point toward the sky? Because when you start connecting the dots, you begin to see something unsettling, a pattern that shouldn't exist. In this video, we're going to explore 8 ancient structures that challenge everything we think we know about the past. Each one raises questions that historians still struggle to answer. Each one pushes the limits of what should have been possible. And the further we go, the stranger it becomes. Because the first discovery on this list isn't just impressive, it's mathematically precise, astronomically aligned, and built with a level of perfection that still leaves experts searching for answers. And once you see it, you'll understand why some people believe this was never supposed to be simple, or accidental, or human alone. Let's begin.
The first structure rises from the desert like a challenge to everything we think we understand about the ancient world: the Great Pyramid of Giza. At first glance, it's just a massive tomb, but the closer you look, the more impossible it becomes. Built from over 2 million limestone blocks, many weighing several tons, and some internal stones reaching up to 80 tons, every piece fits together with astonishing precision. But here's where it gets strange. The pyramid is aligned almost perfectly to true north, with an accuracy modern instruments would struggle to match. The base is leveled to within a fraction of an inch, and the mathematical proportions found within its structure seem to reflect constants like pi and the golden ratio. According to historians, this was achieved through sheer manpower, simple tools, and ingenious planning. Ramps, levers, and years, maybe decades of labor. But some believe there's more to it. One theory suggests that ancient builders may have had access to advanced knowledge of mathematics and astronomy far beyond what we give them credit for. Others go even further, questioning whether the construction methods used have been completely lost or deliberately overlooked. Because if this level of precision was intentional, then it wasn't just a tomb, it was a message, and no one can fully explain how it was built. Now travel across the ocean to wind-swept hills in England, where another mystery stands in silent defiance: Stonehenge. Massive stones, some weighing up to 25 tons, arranged in a circular formation. But these aren't just local rocks. Some of them, known as blue stones, were transported from over 200 kilometers away, without wheels, without metal tools, without any clear explanation. This is where things don't add up, because moving stones of that size across such a distance would be a challenge even today. Yet somehow, ancient builders not only transported them, they placed them upright with precision, forming a structure aligned with the movements of the sun. During the summer solstice, the sun rises directly over a specific stone, perfectly framed within the structure. Officially, it's believed that Stonehenge was built using sledges, rollers, and human effort over many generations. But some believe that explanation doesn't fully account for the precision or the purpose. One theory suggests it may have been more than a ceremonial site, possibly a kind of ancient observatory. Others propose something even more unusual, that the knowledge behind its construction came from a source we don't yet understand. Because structures like this don't just happen, they're designed. And whatever designed this understood the sky. But the mystery doesn't stop there. High in the Andes Mountains, where the air is thin and the terrain unforgiving, lies a structure that might be even more unsettling: Sacsayhuaman. At first, it looks like a fortress, but when you step closer, you realize something is deeply unusual. The walls are made of enormous stones, some weighing over 100 tons. But it's not the size that's most shocking. It's the way they fit together. Each stone is cut into complex, irregular shapes, locking into place like a three-dimensional puzzle. No mortar, no gaps, not even enough space to slide a piece of paper between them. And this is what makes researchers uncomfortable. Because even with modern tools, replicating this level of precision with stones of that size would be extremely difficult. According to archaeologists, the Inca people shaped these stones using hammerstones and careful craftsmanship over time. But some believe that explanation doesn't go far enough. One theory suggests the possibility of lost techniques, methods of softening or manipulating stone that have since disappeared. Others speculate that the builders possessed a deeper understanding of materials than we currently recognize. Because these walls weren't just built to stand, they were built to last through earthquakes, time, and everything in between. And they have. So now the question becomes, if ancient civilizations across the world could achieve this level of precision using methods we can't fully explain, what else were they capable of? Because the next discoveries don't just challenge our understanding of construction, they begin to challenge our understanding of history itself. And once you see them, you may start to wonder if something important has been hidden all along.
Deep in the mountains of Lebanon, there is a place that feels less like a construction site and more like a question carved into the earth itself, the ancient complex of Baalbek. At its core lies something almost impossible to comprehend. Massive stone blocks, some weighing over 800 tons, form the foundation of a structure that has stood for thousands of years. And among them, one stone, known as the Stone of the Pregnant Woman, is estimated to weigh over 1,000 tons. To put that into perspective, modern cranes struggle to lift objects even close to that weight. But here's where it gets strange. These stones weren't just left in a quarry. Many of them were lifted, transported, and placed with precision into the structure itself, positioned so tightly that the gaps between them are nearly invisible. According to historians, the Romans built much of what we see today, using advanced engineering for their time. But some researchers point out something unsettling. The largest stones appear to predate the Roman construction, as if the Romans built on top of something far older. One theory suggests a lost civilization with engineering capabilities we don't fully understand. Others believe the Romans may have inherited techniques or knowledge that were never recorded. Because if moving 1,000-ton stone wasn't impossible back then what else wasn't? And this is where things begin to escalate. Because in the highlands of Bolivia, near the edge of Lake Titicaca, lies another site that raises even more disturbing questions, Pumapunku. At first, it doesn't look as massive as Baalbek, but the closer you examine it, the more unsettling it becomes. The stones here are cut with such precision that they almost resemble machine-made parts, perfect right angles, smooth surfaces, intricate grooves, and interlocking designs that seem engineered rather than carved. And then there are the H-blocks, identical stone pieces repeated with near-perfect consistency, as if produced in a controlled process. But this is where it doesn't make sense, because the civilization believed to have built Pumapunku shouldn't have had the tools to achieve this level of detail. No advanced metal tools, no written language describing the process, no clear explanation. According to archaeologists, these stones were shaped using stone tools and careful planning over time. But some believe that explanation leaves too many gaps. One theory suggests that the builders may have used unknown techniques, possibly involving methods of shaping stone that we no longer understand. Others go further, proposing that the site may be much older than officially believed, dating back to a time before recorded history. Because if that's true, then Pumapunku isn't just mysterious, it's misplaced in time. And this is what makes researchers uncomfortable. Because structures like this don't just challenge our understanding of technology, they challenge our timeline. But the mystery doesn't end there. In the dense jungles of Cambodia, hidden beneath layers of vegetation and time, stands one of the most iconic and puzzling structures ever built, Angkor Wat. At first, it appears to be a temple, beautiful, symmetrical, vast. But beneath that beauty lies something far more complex. The entire structure is aligned with astronomical events. Its layout mirrors celestial patterns, and its dimensions appear to encode cycles of time, including lunar and solar movements. But here's where it gets unsettling. This level of astronomical precision would require knowledge, observation, and calculation far beyond what we typically associate with the civilization that built it. Officially, Angkor Wat was constructed in the 12th century using traditional methods and incredible human effort. But some believe there's more beneath the surface. One theory suggests that the builders were working from a much older blueprint, a system of knowledge passed down through generations. Others propose that the alignment and design weren't just symbolic, but functional, as part of a larger, forgotten understanding of the cosmos. Because when you step back and look at it as a whole, it doesn't just feel like architecture. It feels intentional, calculated, almost encoded. And this is where everything starts to connect. Massive stones moved without explanation, precision cuts that defy ancient tools, structures aligned with the stars across different continents, different cultures, different times, but the same patterns, the same questions. And now we're left with something far more unsettling than a simple mystery, because if all of this is connected, then it wasn't random, it was planned. And the final discoveries on this list don't just raise questions about the past, they raise questions about what we've chosen to ignore. Because the next structure doesn't just challenge history, it rewrites it. And once you see it, you may never look at the ancient world the same way again.
Hidden beneath layers of earth and time, in what is now modern-day Turkey, lies a discovery that has forced historians to confront a possibility they once refused to consider: the ancient site of Göbekli Tepe. At first, it doesn't look like much, just a series of stone pillars arranged in circles. But these aren't ordinary stones. They are massive, carved, deliberately placed. And they are older than almost anything we've ever found. Dating back over 11,000 years, Göbekli Tepe predates Stonehenge, the pyramids, and nearly every known complex civilization. According to everything we thought we knew, structures like this shouldn't exist at that time. Because this was supposed to be the era of simple hunter-gatherers. No cities, no advanced tools, no large-scale construction. But here's where everything falls apart. The pillars are intricately carved with animals, symbols, and patterns that suggest not just skill, but intention, organization, planning. This wasn't random. This was design. According to archaeologists, early humans may have gathered in groups, slowly building the site over time using basic tools and cooperation. But some believe that explanation raises more questions than it answers. Because organizing something on this scale requires structure, leadership, knowledge. One theory suggests that Göbekli Tepe may represent a lost chapter of human history, a time when civilization began much earlier than we currently believe. Others go further, proposing that this site could be evidence of knowledge passed down from an even older, unknown culture. Because if people 11,000 years ago could build this, then everything we've been taught about the origins of civilization might be wrong. But the mystery doesn't end there. In the Pacific Ocean, on one of the most isolated islands on Earth, stands a series of figures that seem to watch silently across the landscape, the statues of Easter Island. Known as the Moai, these massive stone heads, some weighing over 80 tons, were carved and transported across the island without any clear explanation. No large trees remain on the island today, raising questions about how these statues were even moved. And this is where it gets strange. Some of the statues appeared to have been walked upright, according to modern experiments. Others suggest sledges or rolling methods. But none of these explanations fully account for the scale or the consistency, because nearly 900 statues were created, each one placed with purpose, each one facing inward, as if watching over something or guarding it. And this is what makes researchers uncomfortable. Because when you step back and look at everything we've explored, a pattern begins to emerge. Massive structures, impossible precision, astronomical alignment, knowledge that appears too advanced for its time. Different continents, different cultures, but the same underlying question: how? How did ancient civilizations achieve all of this without the tools we rely on today? Some believe it was simply human ingenuity pushed to its absolute limits. Others suggest lost technologies, forgotten methods, knowledge that disappeared somewhere along the timeline of history.
And then there are theories that go even further, that perhaps ancient civilizations weren't as isolated as we think, that ideas, techniques, or influences may have spread in ways we don't yet understand. Because if even one of these structures cannot be fully explained, then it forces us to reconsider all of them. And if they are connected, then this isn't just about architecture, it's about something deeper, something hidden. Because maybe the past isn't as simple as we've been told. Maybe history isn't just incomplete. Maybe parts of it were never meant to be understood. And if that's true, then the real question isn't just how these structures were built, it's why. Why invest so much effort, so much precision into creations that would outlast generations? Why align them with the stars? Why build in ways that we still struggle to replicate? Because if we don't fully understand the past, then how can we be sure we understand the present? And maybe the most unsettling thought of all is that these structures were never meant to be mysteries. They were meant to be reminders, waiting, silent, for someone to finally ask the right questions.